I have been watching so much news, so many clips of this and clips of that, and sessions, and dealing with what's happening out there in the world and the government, and then hearing church and Christian angles about all of this. I have never seen so much twisted Christianity in my life. I'll be right back. I think I might talk about twisted Christians.
You can do it. Don't stop. Ed Montgomery. Come on. A new way of thinking. Transform your mind. Straight from the vine. Fresh new wine.
Hello, I'm Ed Montgomery. Welcome to Fresh New Wine. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for being a part of where we are right now. I host a show also on Sunday morning that is called Sensational Sunday. So thank you so much for being with us then. Comes on every Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Now, if you're sitting wherever you're watching this from, hit that like button. That like button, if you don't live, we're coming from the city of Houston, Texas. If you're in another city other than Houston, just let me know in your comments where you're located. If you're in another state, let me know what state you're watching this from, where you're watching it from. If you're in another country, let me know what country you are watching us from. And of course, hit that like button. We need those likes and those comments. Now, one of the things that when we work on Fresh New Wine, a lot of times our producers, and when I say producers, it sounds as if we've got this huge staff of producers, which no, it's not. However, we got people who do things and comments and let me know a little bit more of what's going on. And plus, I'm constantly reading and looking at things, news and other different articles and everything, what's going on every single day, hours upon hours. It can get you jittery. But what gets me more than anything is when I see Christianity brought into this and people start talking about spiritual things and the things that Jesus would do this and Jesus would do that. And I'm beginning to ask myself the question, are you sure Jesus is in any of this? Especially when we start dealing with food, SNAP programs, withholding money from children who are hungry and families who are hungry and people who are just holding on in life right now. That's the question. What do you do about people right now? What do you preach? What do you say? Do you say just hold on? Do you say let's have a prayer meeting and we're going to ask God to drop something from the sky? Go back to a session that I'm dealing with 2 fish and 5 loaves and hear exactly what's being said on that. I promise you, when you hear the miracle in that message, it will say something to you that you're probably not even expecting to hear. Not only that, but we start hearing these church messages and God is a Republican and Democrats are not people of God. They have no spirituality. There's no Jesus there. And but the God of America, we got to get back to God and make this country great again. If I hear any of that ever again, it'll blow some fuses. I wouldn't even be in a church that is talking about make America great again. If there's anybody that needs to be great, people need to start going after some kind of greatness. But what we're discovering is that people may think I am a Christian, but we're starting to discover there is some twisted Christianity going on in here. Now, let me bring up something here. Matthew chapter 13, chapter 14, 15, 16, and 17, all of those chapters. I can't read all these verses and all of these different things because it'll take too much time from what I got to say. If you want to back me, and backtrack me, that's fine with you. Go ahead and do it. It's good to do it. But one of the things it talks about in all of these chapters is about seeds and about planting seeds, where seeds come from, what seeds produce. Jesus tells a story. He says, and a sower sowed a seed. Some seed fell on stony ground or by the wayside, and the birds came, ate it up. Then some seed fell on rocky places, took a little root, but then when the sun came up, it had no depth in its root, and the plant just went away, just blew away. Then some fell among the thorns, or among the weeds, or among ground where weeds were sown, and the weeds choked the seed, or in other words, choked the plant as the plant was growing up. The plant was growing strong, but the weeds came in, wrapped itself around it, and choked it. It says, and then some fell on good ground. In other words, these four things, 25% fell on good ground, which means 25% of all the seed that was sown became worth something. Actually, I submit to you, all of it could have been worth something. As a matter of fact, all of it was worth something had it been taken care of differently, but I don't have time to talk about that. Now, what is the seed? Here is what we ask the question. What was the seed? And Jesus says to his disciples, the disciple says, why do you talk to people in parables? Jesus said, well, because I want them to think. I don't want bird brain Christianity, birds just coming in and taking the seed and just eating it and getting rid of it. I want people to think. Parables make people think. Of course, the disciples, they were just talking. They didn't know what the parables meant anyway. And Jesus said, well, let me explain it to you. He says, and one of the seeds, it says, when it is planted, it says the weeds will grow up. The thorns will grow up and choke the seed. He says, and what chokes the plant or the seed, the planted seed, he said what chokes it is the pressures of this world and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches. The cares of this world, in other words, worry, anxiety. Second, pressure. Temptation. That's what the word temptation means. That word temptation does not mean, oh, I'm tempted to do this or I'm tempted to do that. No, it means to be pressured concerning something. It says in a third thing is just worry and pressure and the dynamics of just living in this world right where it is. And the goal of it is to choke the seed or to choke the plant. Interesting. It's interesting how it can't kill it. It just chokes it to make it grow differently. This is what we're talking about with the kind of Christianity we're dealing with. All Christianity and Christian this and Christian that is not necessarily good for us. Some of it, when you say it's Christian, we think it means everything is like Christ, because this is what the definition of the word Christian is. In other words, Christian-like. Christian, actually, it's defined as little Christs. The word actually was given to the people who were in the Bible, the disciples of Jesus, was given to them by their enemies, by the people in the city that didn't particularly care about what they were doing. They said, look how they care for other people. They're looking after other people. They're taking care of other people. They have compassion on other people. In other words, it called them Christians. In other words, they're acting just like Jesus. In other words, they're little Jesuses. But the people in the Bible, the disciples, never called themselves Christians. Now, they used to call them believers. In other words, and I believe several years ago, we would use the term, we're believers. In other words, but I got to the point where I started asking the question, believe in what? because things began to change. You began to discover that everybody who said they were Christian were not necessarily a Christian or a believer. What did they believe in? Just believing in Jesus. You believe in Jesus? Well, I believe Jesus existed. So does that make you a believer? Believing in what? What do you believe in? Well, then the bottom line comes up. What did Jesus ask us to be? What were they back then? They were, what did Jesus say to them? Follow me. Follow me. Peter, follow me. What do you want me to do? Follow me. Go home. Well, let me go home and tell, my people and everybody that I'm getting ready to leave. No, just let it be. Let them stay there. Follow me. Learn of me. And that's what we learn in Matthew chapter 11. It says, Jesus says, come unto me, all ye that labor and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke. In other words, take my discipline upon you. Learn of me, and you will find rest to your souls. What makes your soul rest? What is your soul? Your soul is your mind. Your soul is the ability to deal with worry, where worry is, where anxiety can get in. That's in your soul. This is where you make choices, whether you will go in that direction or that direction. That is in what is called the soul. You have the body, soul, and spirit. You've heard those things. That's within your soul. Jesus said you will find rest unto your soul. There will be a calmness that will take place in your soul. And what do you do to bring that calmness in? He says, learn of me. Follow me and learn of me. Listen, hit that comment button. Let me know that you're saying, hey, I'm catching on to what you're saying. And hit that like button. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know that you're out there. I will be right back. Just hold on a second. I've got the conclusion of this getting ready to hit. I'll be right back. I know I'm not supposed to be interrupting right here, but remember, myalc.org. That's myalc.org. And you can also give at 713-742-2035. You can use your text to give or use your app. If you're on the app, you can go right to that donate button and it won't change anything. You say, why in the world would you break my concentration? I'm sorry, but I wanted you to remember, because you know what? Just like there's a break in here, there's also going to be a breakthrough in your life. I believe that. Now, let's go back. Okay. I was looking for a sip of water, got caught drinking it. But I've been watching everything that's going on in our country and about this standoff concerning SNAP and WIC and food programs and things of that sort. And here is what I'm noticing is the pressure that people are under. Now, listen to me. We don't have time to talk about who's right about this or who's right about who's shutting down the government and things of that sort. What we're noticing is who is under the pressure. Listen, you have no idea how much pressure these people are under. I don't care whether they're Republican or Democrat. You have no idea how much pressure they are under. Well, everybody's under pressure. You are absolutely darn right. Everybody's under pressure. People are under pressure because they don't know some don't know where that next meal is coming from. There are some who are under pressure who are depending on things and don't even know what's happening with the government. There are older people are showing up at grocery stores, putting things in their cart and giving their card ready to be able to check out and get out of there, only to find out there's no money in the account. And the people at the counter have to explain to them why there's no money, and they're not understanding. Why is nothing there? I don't understand. And they say, well, the government shut down. What do you mean the government shut down? They don't deal with it like that. And then on top of that, go to the back rooms of these senators. Listen, people think it's easy to be these folk. It's not easy to be these folk at all. Imagine one side shouting at you saying, don't you care about poor people? Don't you care about people who can't get their SNAP benefits? Don't you care about people who can't eat? Don't you care about these? Imagine going down the street. Everywhere you go, every restaurant you go in, every place, house of worship you walk in, you don't care about these people. If you go in a different kind of house of worship, you got some of the people in those houses of worship saying, make this country pay. It's all right to let people be hungry. Let them feel the pain until we bring America down and rebuild America in our image and make America great again. You got some people that's giving that kind of pressure. That you got some people that's giving the kind of pressure from another end. Say you're a senator out of Nevada. Guess what? Nevada don't have any beaches. They don't have any oceans. I mean, they have a lake, but they don't have any place where cargo comes in on ships. Everything that they have to get, their industry is about flying in. What happens when the air traffic controllers go down and there's no flying coming in? Guess what? Nevada is shut down. What's in Nevada? Las Vegas. You've got gambling that's happening right there. There's no tourists showing up. The tourist industry starts taking a nosedive. So now you got senators that are being pressured on one end and the tourist industry on another end. And the people on one end are saying, open up this government to the Republic. And they're saying, we can't open it up. If we open it up, it's going to be, but you can't starve the people on one end. Everything, if I sound confusing, I want it to be confusing because I want you to understand how much that pressure is pulling. And people will change when they're under pressure if they don't have a solid teaching up under their belt, in their mind, and in their thinking. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. See, this normal kind of Christianity, where we're being nice, sweet people, and we love people, but just to love without action, faith without works is dead. You've got to make some choices. And when you make these choices, it's going to leave you possibly vulnerable. So, Christian, what are we? I'll tell you what we are. A follower of Jesus Christ and his teachings. And the more we learn about Jesus, the more we learn about how he deals with living and everyday lives, the moment we can begin to meditate on some of the things that he teaches. I'm not just talking about the whole entire Bible. There's some things in the Bible you don't want to meditate on, but just on things that teaches us at least two basic things. Number one, love the Lord with all your heart, your mind, your soul, your strength. And number two, love your neighbor as yourself. But when you don't love yourself, you can't love your neighbor. We say it all the time, don't we? That's because that's where the power is. Learning to love yourself. Now that right there begins the process of growing your faith. Follow Jesus and learn of him. And now you begin to build your faith. And your faith now starts taking you to the place you're able to move mountains. I got to go. The time is up. I'll be back, though. Be back. Hello, my friends. I'm Ed Montgomery. You know me, Pastor Ed, Dr. Ed. Thank you so much for doing what you do and contributing from your heart. People think giving comes from the pocket. Never has. Comes directly from the heart. In the world that we're living in right now, so many changes, so many things happening that will make us lose our faith. Listen, I've got to teach more than I've ever taught. Stay online more than I've ever been online. Because it's not just going to be enough to encourage. We're reteaching the faith. That's right, reteaching the faith. Because we have to begin to strengthen the teaching so that people who've never heard this gospel like this before can hear it and continue to move on. So when you give, you're pushing me and telling me and challenging me to keep going forward. Take a moment, go to myalc.org. That's myalc.org, myalc.org, and go ahead and click that donate button. It is safe, it is secure, and not only that, but it only takes just a couple of minutes, maybe even a few seconds for those of you that are already signed up. Or if you want to use your phone, wherever you're watching or however you're watching, you can use text to give. And that's 713-742-2035, 713-742-2035. Or you can go old school and you can write a check and send it in to Abundant Life Center or Ed Montgomery. It doesn't go into my pocket, it goes into our ministry. 772-300, Houston, Texas, 77215. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for what you already do. I am praying for you, and I'm praying the best over your gift and over the offering. And I pray that abundance will continue to flow in your life in so many different ways. It'll warm your heart. God bless you. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash it, crash it. Let us know you're there.